Is the ick a danger sign that you should be running in the opposite direction? Or is it actually a sign that you should really be leaning into that relationship? What is the ick? In general terms, the ick is a sudden sense of repulsion or disgust towards somebody that you were previously interested in. So why does that happen, and what do you do about it? So often it happens because of what you were subconsciously expecting from a situation or a relationship. We have a really, really strong tendency to subconsciously set things up to get what we expect out of situations and to see things in a way that helps us or makes us feel the way that we expect to feel. And so often, if you're going out, if you've been out on a few dates and there's some initial attraction and you're interested in the guy and he's interested in you and things are going kind of good, your brain, as somebody starts to get close to you, as somebody starts to, as a relationship, even in those very first stages where you're just taking a couple of initial steps towards somebody, when that happens, when somebody starts to get close, the attachment rule book, the attachment system gets activated. And the attachment system is a rule book that is behind the scenes in every single one of our minds that dictates how we respond, how we monitor and manage closeness in a relationship. And so as long as nobody's too close, then that rule book doesn't get activated and our thoughts and emotional reactions around that aren't triggered. However, as soon as somebody starts to get closer, then all of a sudden that rule book jumps into place. And if you happen to have either an avoidant attachment style or an anxious attachment style, then that begins to feel unsafe to you in some way. The ick is often the result of an avoidant attachment style. The avoidant rule book says, I'm not sure that relationships are safe. I'm not sure that I can really trust that I'm going to matter in relationships. And I don't think it's really a good idea to let somebody get too close because they're just going to let you down. They're just going to hurt your feelings. And all of this is going on subconsciously behind the scenes. And so what your brain says is, okay, so it's not a good idea to let somebody get too close or to depend on somebody. And so then as somebody starts to get there, then all of a sudden your brain is looking subconsciously for reasons to create space, to distance yourself from that person. And so this sudden repulsion or disgust over things that were probably happening during the first few dates, all of a sudden are all you can hear. All you can hear is the way that he's chewing his gum or the way that he's smacking his lips when he's putting on Listex, or the little corny phrases that he uses when he's talking to you, or the way he combs his hair, the way that he talks to his bros, or all of these things that suddenly your brain and subconsciously, what I want you to see is that subconsciously your brain is looking for reasons to create distance and space in the relationship. That's where the ick comes from. So how do you move past that if you actually logically, not emotionally and reactively, but if logically you're like, no, this guy actually is a really good guy. And there's some real potential here. And the ick is in the way. I'm sort of cutting off my nose to spite my face. I'm sabotaging something here that could actually be a really good thing. If that's the case. Now, sometimes the ick is like a good cue that you need to be moving on and filtering that situation out. But if you think that there actually is some potential and you want to get past the ick, what do? Well, there are a few different things that you can do. One, first off, you have to recognize what's going on. Yeah, you have to understand what your brain is subconsciously doing. By taking the covert process and making it overt, it activates a different part of your brain that then has to decide how you're going to manage it. So just by naming it, just by making that covert process overt, your brain then will have to decide, am I going to move forward with this or am I going to move away from this? Sometimes we don't want to make that decision a very conscious, overt decision because we don't want to take responsibility for it. The second thing that you can do is you can very consciously look for positive things in the other person. Research shows that in order for a relationship just to stay neutral, we have to have 5 positives for every one negative. And what happens when your brain is starting to look for excuses and reasons to create space? All of a sudden your brain is looking for and punctuating all the negative things about the other person. And so that ratio of 5 positives to 1 negative can get flipped on its head really easily. And you can take control of that by literally writing down every day 5 positive things for every 1 negative thing. Before you go to spend time with him, you can say, okay, I'm gonna notice the things that I like about him. And in your brain, you literally say those things. You know what? I like that he opened the door for me. I like that he complimented my shirt. I like that he laughs at my jokes. I like that he likes the same kind of music that I like. I like the twinkle in his eye when he smiles. I like the way that he talks about his mom. I like how hardworking he is. I like that he is working really hard to get ahead in life. I really like how responsive he is to his kids. All of those kinds of things are just some examples that where you can choose to send your brain, where you can choose to direct your brain down pathways that you want it to go down, instead of these subconscious pathways that are trying to sabotage you actually getting close to somebody.